Daddy. Where's Ma? I'm waiting for Ma to say first in the chat right now. First.
Second.
Me. I. You missed that, eh? Me. I.
Yes, every single day. That's the one sound I want to hear.
What's up, channel? What's going on, man? What's up? Shabbat game time decision tonight?
Yep.
Darlene had a power play goal, I think, last game. Thank God. They need to get him going bad.
Oh, no hat today, Mike. Shocker.
Oh, yeah. Taking a beating probably for that.
Channel was actually in my stream last night. We were talking about the LA Kings and their prospect pool and your favorite player in the world.
Yeah. I think Kaliev is like their best prospect.
They oh God, I forget his name already. I'm gonna have to look it up. It's bugging me.
Who? Bjorn fought?
No.
Gabe Rasmus Kupari?
No.
Those are actually like two big prospects.
No, he's even better.
No.
Yeah. Alex Turcotte.
Oh yeah, jeez, I forgot about him. Team USA as well.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be pretty nasty. If he was anything like his junior career, which doesn't really give you any indication.
I know.
Except if they're in the NCAA, right, Mike?
What about not Connor Garland? Well, Garland had the 120 points. Someone commented on my video. Apparently he was like really, really good for, I think, Moncton Wildcats in the Q. And I guess the coach just like hated his defense. Like that was his like biggest problem. It's like I'm just
interesting because I don't think he's bad defensively now, is he?
No, he's definitely defensively sound. And that's what I've seen on Twitter about McDavid, where people are saying that like he's made a complete 180 in terms of defense, and now he's actually like a really good defender. Where last year, like I remember he was like a player that we wanted to target against anyways.
I still think he's a player we want to target, but that line has been a lot better.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of like scared against them, picking against them.
Yeah, it sucks, but Mike Smith's in net, and we know that that Mike Smith is definitely not better than his counterpart there.
Is Smith confirmed?
Koskinen. He's not confirmed, but I'm assuming he's getting the start because Koskinen's just been playing a lot. He just seems to be the guy that's going every night.
Mm-hmm. Trevor Zegras night last night, just nothing. Maybe his ownership.
Yep.
Did you take him? I didn't take him.
No, I didn't take him either.
I'm just curious to like what his ownership was last night. I feel like it was up there. When I was watching, I saw Silverberg scored, and that was right before I turned the game on, and I'm like, oh, he's on the line with Silverberg. Probably has an assist, but nothing. Corpusalo worth the pickup this week? No, I don't think he is at all.
Absolutely not.
That Columbus team has just been a disaster. All the games yesterday were so weird. Yeah, man. Yesterday was like, if you bet the unders on every game, you hit on almost every single one, except for the night games. If you bet the unders on the early games, you won. Brew told me he bet on the under in the Leafs game and the under in the Kings game. The Leafs game was a surprise, especially when we got note that Riddick and Hutch were starting.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys have any low-owned suggestions for hitters? Like Radko Gudas? Pretty sure Gudas has like 90 hits this season already.
Yeah, it's a pop into my head are probably already taken. Like guys like Zadorov and who's that other guy?
Nick Ritchie too, potentially someone you could look at.
I never play in bangers leagues, so I don't know
I know, me neither.
any of the guys that throw a bunch of hits. Yala had an awesome night on Saturday.
Yeah, 2 goals and assist, and then busted last night. Yo, you see those changes in Vegas?
No, he scored less. Oh wait, that was Saturday. I lied. The changes in Vegas, like they meshed
Their lines were just
blended their lines.
an absolute mess.
Oh, it's Tuck, Stevenson, Stone, and then Pacioretty, Glass, Smith. What is happening?
I'm just doing something quickly before we get started here. Is there any questions in the chat right now? I don't know if anyone take the Leafs last night. I hope not. No. I mean, you had to. But I don't know what's going on with Tavares right now. Like, how did he look last night?
I was saying before the stream, him, Matthews, and Marner looked like they didn't know how to play hockey. They were just so incredibly out of sync. And you'd think that like 3 elite players like that would just be able to play with anybody.
Yeah.
And like be half decent. And they've like shown a little success in the past. Like obviously their sample was small because Babcock wouldn't play them together normally, but
Babcock just hated everyone on that team, I think.
it's true.
He's like, I have too much talent on this team. I'm just going to ruin everyone. Now you see Barry just lighting it up in Edmonton, which wasn't really a surprise for us.
Yeah.
Pavelski.
Aaron Ekblad's also somebody that's like surprised me in terms of just his overall production so far this season.
Yeah.
But Florida has been kind of whack.
Dude, they had 51 shots last night. 50.
You trade McDavid for McKinnon and Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I even think McDavid for McKinnon well, no, because of the Canadian division, but
Yeah, I think that's a fine trade.
I had 30% Leafs, but I was heavy on Phoenix 1. Only one of my 15 lineups cash. Tampa 1. Tampa 1 was I guess you can call them the nuts last night outside. If you paired them with Minnesota 2, then that was it for sure.
That was actually like, if you think about it, like that's actually was a pretty good pairing because like they were like really overpriced. I just didn't like them against that Carolina top line, but I mean, Reimer was making some big saves in that game. I was watching. Reimer looked great in that game, which obviously caught me off guard. Jake Bean, 7 shots last night in 15 minutes. All right,
Did he really?
Yeah, we'll get started in 2 seconds, guys. I'm just fixing something here. 3. Yeah, 51 shots for the Panthers. Like, how does that happen? And the Stars are like, it's not like they're a bad defensive team either. I don't know.
Action for Eichel, I'd do that if you can.
Yeah, I was just talking about buying low in Eichel today. I don't even know if he's considered a buy low at this point, but all right.
How are you guys doing today? Thoughts on Eichel? Trade Ehlers for him.
Yes,
if you can. Again.
Okay, so this means that Eichel is going to be in my buy low, sell high video.
Yeah.
All right. I am good. I am set. I'm ready. What's up?
Let's do it.
What's up, fellas? We got 21 people in here. 6-game slate tonight. Yesterday was one of the weirder days of NHL that I've seen in terms of goal scoring. There was nothing happening. Like, I felt like I would like not look at my score app for an hour and I'd go back and there'd be like 1 goal scored in that hour and there was 5 games on. But yeah, Hudobin was great yesterday. Action for Eichel. Pesce, Subban, or Duncan Keith. Probably Keith for me. Pesci doesn't play power play. Subban's just meh. Marchand for Yossi and Landeskog.
Depends on your D.
Yeah, like I mean, you're getting a number one. I would do that. I would accept that. Kind of hot. He's killing you. Yeah, man. Hart's been bad. Any thoughts on Mikko? Should I hold or trade Rantanen? If it's Rantanen, he's a 1,000% to hold. But yeah, like what Flaky said, smash that like button, boys. We're gonna get started. Couple good spots tonight. Couple good looks. All right, so Sabres, Devils. Sabres on the back-to-back. They struggled against the Islanders last night. Not really a surprise to us. I don't think either of us were on the Sabres at all yesterday. I didn't have any in my lineups. I don't think anyone even touched them in DraftKings. But Olofsson, Eichel, Reinhart. Something I noted before the stream here is the Devils have a 60% penalty kill right now. So they're taking about 3 minor penalties per game, and they cannot kill off a penalty. And this Sabres team has actually been very strong in the power play. This is like their only bright spot. It seems like their goals are just coming on the power play. So don't mind Sabres 1 with Dahlin, and this is just going to be strictly a power play stack. And you can add Hull on there too if you want. And there are some cheaper lines that we'll get to later, a little bit down the slate here. But I think if I'm going anywhere tonight, it's going to be Sabres 1. It looks like they're matching up against Devils 4 tonight, and we don't have any numbers on them. But I'm assuming the Devils' depth isn't too good. So I think this is actually a pretty good matchup for the Sabres 1 team that's priced very favorably tonight. Carter Hutton, not touching him at all. He's just a very poor goaltender. So, yeah, don't mind Sabres 1 and Dahlin tonight.
Yeah, Sabres 1. If you're going anywhere on the Sabres, it's definitely the first line. I took the Islanders last night instead of the Sabres, and they busted. So you probably won't ever hear me talk about the Islanders ever again.
Just me now.
Just Mike. But Sabres 1 is a good option just because they're all power play 1 correlated. They're going against the Devils, which, again, I don't think they've been necessarily a strong defensive team outside of just Mackenzie Blackwood being a brick wall. So I like Sabres 1, especially if they're going against New Jersey 4, which seems quite peculiar to me if you're the Devils head coach. But I think even if you pair Rasmus Dahlin with them as well, he's still shooting the puck, guys. He's not like producing a bunch in terms of points, but he has started to get better in terms of his like shot volume and stuff like that. So that's, again, something just to keep an eye on. I know we keep telling you to hold on this guy and wait. He has 2 points his last 2 games. So maybe this is the upward trend that we need to see from him in order for him to get back into form. But for 5K, I still think that's a good option, especially if you're taking Sabres 1. And I am not touching Carter Hutton ever. Probably just for in general.
Yeah, not too much to like from Hutton there. On the Devils side here, so Heischer's back. He's playing minutes. He's playing on the top power play unit. He was someone that we were both interested in going into this year. I sort of like a sleeper because I feel like people in the Devils just go way overlooked. But looks like I was trying to look into their line matching, and it seems like they're going against the Sabres second line. And we don't have a large enough sample to fully say the Devils 1 are bad 5-on-5, but I think if I'm going anywhere here, it's going to be Devils 2. They've been really good. I really like Palmieri. He's a high shot volume guy. This line's seen a lot of minutes, 2 guys on the top power play unit, and they're facing off against Buffalo 3 tonight, who has a 3.34 expected goals against, which is very bad. So I think this line's going to have a heyday against the Sabres depth tonight. Hutton makes it a little bit more, kind of makes me lean a little bit more towards the Devils just because he's a very bad goaltender. I just looked, he was bottom 10 in the league for rebounds, so he gives up a ton of rebounds. And that's something you kind of want to look for because, I mean, if you watch hockey or if you've played hockey, you know that rebounds will lead to goals pretty often. So definitely like that. On the defensive side here, I mean, you can get to Severson. He is seen quite a bit of minutes and does have good peripherals. But in terms of Smith and Subban, there's just not much I like there. I think Subban just hasn't done enough for me. And then Ty Smith is not playing the minutes. The Sabres take the least penalties in the NHL, 5 penalty minutes per game. So Smith is only relevant in a really good power play spot. But Mackenzie Blackwood, he's the only reason why I won't be pretty heavy on the Sabres, is because he's just a goaltender there, like similar to Gibson, that time and time again he's been shutting the door. But he's definitely in a really good spot tonight as a goaltender, should see volume. And they are going to be the favorite tonight, the Devils, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to look into that as you go. But, yep, the Devils are a favorite tonight. So don't mind Blackwood at all tonight.
Yeah, so we see just the change there of Zaka going to power play 1, and then Jack Hughes actually going down to power play 2, which kind of sucks because I really liked that correlation that him and Palmieri had there. But I think just Hischier being named the captain, everything, he just gets the seniority check over Hughes there. But I still like Devils too, and it's more so just the 5-on-5 matchup that I like going against Buffalo 3 there. And Hughes has been great this year. Palmieri's is a pretty high shot volume guy as well. And then Andreas Janssen, he just brings the price down to the line, right? They're gonna be kind of under-owned, like Mike said. A lot of people just tend to look over the Devils right now. They've been playing fairly well as of late. In terms of D, I don't like Ty Smith. Like, even though he's on power play 1, Damian Severson is also a good option there, but he is power play 2. They actually moved a PK Subban to power play 1 there, so that honestly could be an option. Just the fact that he plays a bunch of minutes. I don't think he's a good defenseman, and he actually doesn't get as many minutes as I thought. He's only hovering around 18, 19. So your only real upside with Subban there is that he shoots the puck. Not a crazy amount like Burns or Yossi or anything like that, but I think I'm probably just off the Devils D. There's just better spots to go to. And I will definitely have some Mackenzie Blackwood tonight. He's going to see a lot of shots from the Sabres. And he's, like I said earlier, just been an absolute brick wall. So give me some of him tonight as well.
For sure. All right, Penguins, Capitals. So looks like these new Penguins lines are going to stick. We're going to see Kapanen up on the top line, which I don't like too much. But looked at some line matching. It looks like Penguins 1 is going to be facing off against Capitals 3. But that was the Capitals 3 line when it was Panik, Eller, Sheary. But now we're seeing Oshie, Backstrom, Panik. So line matching is kind of like, I put a question mark here because we don't know now because of the line changes. Like, I don't know if they're going to assume that Backstrom's line 1 or if Ovechkin's line 1. I honestly, it's too hard to tell. But I like Penguins 1 and Penguins 2 tonight. They're both priced very favorably, under $17K for 2 top lines. Gensel, Crosby, power play 1 correlation. That's something you really want to look for. Capitals have been taking penalties. They have been pretty bad on the penalty kill. And Vanacek has been, like, he had a hot start and people were like raving over him, but he has been bad. And this is another good night for the Penguins. I was all over them against the Capitals last game. They busted for me, but I'm going right back to them. And it's good when lines bust, because that just means their price is going to come down and their ownership is going to go down. And they're in just as good as a matchup as we saw 2 nights ago. And I was all over them. I'm going to be all over them again tonight. I just think it's so hard for me to get away from them in this very favorable matchup. If this Malkin, Zucker, Russ line is going against Kuz, Vrana, Sheary, I am very interested. Kuznetsov is one of the worst defensive hockey players in the league. And I think Malkin's going to walk all over him tonight. And Malkin's still priced down quite a bit. So really like Penguins 1 and 2 tonight. Defensive side, Letang's price is coming up from that 5K range now, but 5,600 is still a good price for him. He shoots, he blocks, he plays tons of minutes, and he's an easy correlation play. So if you want to leave Zucker off or leave Kapanen off and take Gensel, Crosby, Letang, or Malkin, Russ, Letang, you can do that and just hope they get 2 or 3 power play points or a couple goals. And Letang's involved. Tristan Jarry making a return. You are having him for dinner tonight. You're having your words for dinner tonight. Again, he's been a lot better. And that's something we really wanted to see because I was high on him before the season. And, the Penguins team came out of the gate like really bad. They were struggling to start the season. But Mike Matheson, another good one-off defenseman. He's a guy that will get you the 2 or 3 shots per game on average. Has the opportunity for the shot bonus every night, and he's been pretty good as of late. I'm not sure if Devils for Cup is in here, but him and I have both been on the last 2 nights where he's had the bonus and a couple goals, I think.
Yeah, honestly, like not a bad choice there at all, especially for his price. The one thing I will say about Tristan Jarry is that he has played well in his last 3 games. I will give him that. I will give him that he played well against the last time that these two teams faced, but he has played the Islanders in 2 of his last 3 games. That's all I'm saying. But we see Chris Letang get his price bumped back up to 5,600. Like, this was just a matter of time. Like, he's going to stay around that price range. Maybe he'll head up to 6K if he starts heating up a little bit more. But I hope you guys took advantage of him last game when he was at 5K and he ended up with 2 goals in that game against the Islanders. So plays over 24 minutes, always a good play, especially if you're pairing them with either of the top 6 lines. And I'm good with either of the 2 top 6 today. I think they just have a good matchup against the Caps. The Caps have been relatively lucky. If you go to the Money Puck website, you can see that their expected goals for per 60 is significantly lower than their goals per 60 right now, by like 0.7, which is quite high. So I think the Caps are just a little bit on the lucky side right now, and they're going to come back down to earth. And I'm still not 100% sold on Vanacek. I know he's been good, and honestly, like it's still a small sample for him, and I can't really knock him. But he's at a 907 right now, so I do like some of the Pens tonight, and I'll definitely have some of the first and second line. I just think they're both equally good options. Or like Mike said, you can just go to the power play stack and get like a Crosby, Gensel, Malkin in there.
Yeah, like, and they're priced favorably too, both under 17K tonight.
Yeah.
So that's something you really want to look out for, because you can pair them with other top lines and still pay up for defensemen. So it's always favorable when you can do that. On the Cap side here, so huge blunder. Looks like the coach just put a bunch of names in a hat and picked out who he wanted to play on a line. I used the example yesterday where I said, I don't know what team it was, but they basically put it was Dallas. They assigned each player a number 1 to 12, and then random number generated their lineups, and whatever came out of the random number generator is what they put for their lineups. And that's what we're seeing tonight with the Capitals. So it's a complete mess. I was trying to look and see like if I could find time with Ovi and Eller and Wilson together, or Ovi and Eller. There are samples, but it's really small, and it looks like they struggled a lot 5-on-5, and that's what we see from Ovi a lot. Defensive numbers are never there. So it's hard for me to get to the Caps tonight for 2 reasons. 1, new lines, and reason 2, I just think we don't know if these lines are going to stick tonight. So maybe the Caps go down 2-3 goals to the start of the game, and you see Ovechkin, Kuz, Wilson back together, and we have no idea what they're going to do with that. So I'm off the Caps tonight. I'm only doing a few lineups. I'm getting more into the cash game more than I am in the MME like I used to do. On the defensive side here, I think you can't go wrong with John Carlson ever. He's a guy similar to Yossi where he's very reliable for minutes, for goals, for assists, shots and blocks. Like, he hits everything. So I don't mind him. Schultz's price is way too inflated for me. Please don't take him tonight, guys. He's in the Evan Bouchard range where he just does nothing and is priced super high. And then Vanacek, no thank you at all tonight.
Yeah, I touched on Vanacek a second ago. I think John Carlson is always a good option at 7K. He's probably still like the best offensive defenseman in the NHL right now, just in terms of like a point per game standpoint. Him and Yossi are just like battling it out. I guess you could throw Makar in there as well, but he shoots the puck a lot more than Makar does. So definitely like him for his price at 7K there. Schultz, no thank you. I'm not even interested in Orlov. I don't think he really brings you any upside. Even though his price is at 2,500, he plays 18 minutes. I don't think that's a terrible punt D, but he just doesn't really do too much, you know. I think if I'm doing anything with the Caps tonight, it's probably going to be a power play stack. I think that gives me the most satisfaction in terms of being safe with the lines as well as getting a little bit of upside. I think you can never go wrong with Ovi just because of how much he shoots, and especially if you throw like John Carlson in that mix as well, and then get like a cheap third line, which we'll touch on a little bit later. I think that's a fairly decent option against a Pens team that I'm still not convinced is good defensive. They've been playing a lot better, though. I will give them that. But obviously, like Ovi can always score no matter who he's matched against. So it's a power play one stack for me for the Caps. It doesn't really matter if you go Veranek, who's Ovi. I would just make sure I always had Ovi in your stack tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know those Penguins 3 line is similar to what we see from the Gaudreau, Coleman, Gord line, and what we saw last year with the Greenway, Eck, Foligno line, where they're a third line that faces against teams' top lines, and this Penguins 3 line was really, really good defensively last year. So good to see them back together. I don't think they were together to begin the season, but good to see them back together and hopefully shutting down Ovi tonight because I'm not taking them. All right, Canadiens, Senators. Interesting game. Shabbat game time decision. That definitely is going to make or break what I'm doing in this game tonight. I think when Shabbat's out, the Senators are significantly worse. So definitely be on watch for that before lock. We'll make sure we notify you guys. But Toffoli, Dino, Gallagher, not much interest in for me tonight. I like Tatar back up there a lot better. Just seems like this line is way, way too overpriced tonight. And Toffoli has not been good in the last week. So there's just, it's hard for me to pay up for a 7,300 Tyler Toffoli that hasn't really proved much in his career to this point. And they're going against a Senators one line who has been really good at shutting down opposing lines. So hard for me to play anyone going against Brady. I do have some interest in Canadiens too tonight. They project very well for us. You can leave off Druin if you want to. I know I left him off the other night. I think me and Devils had the exact same lineup where we did Suzuki Anderson 2-man, and it actually ended up working out for us, even though they did nothing. But Canadiens 3, this is where I'm most interested in for the Canadiens tonight. They are priced very, very cheap, and they're going against a Senators 3 line who, in a 56-minute sample, have been atrocious in their own end. If you're giving this Canadiens 3 line 5-6 high danger chances in the game, they're going to capitalize on it. So definitely have a lot of interest in Canadiens 3 tonight. Probably the most of the Canadian side. Defensive end, not too much interest anywhere. I think Weber's shot volume has been up, and he's going to see a decent amount of. He had 5 shots against the Senators last game. That's what you want to see from Weber. Someone who has a really high shooting talent, similar to Matthews, where every time the puck goes on the net, he has a chance at scoring. So definitely have some interest in Weber at that price tonight. And then Carey Price, 8,400. He's going to see the volume. The Senators are shooting a ton this year, so don't mind Price at 8,400.
Yeah, love seeing Weber's shot volume back up to where we normally saw him, especially last year. Like, just in these past 2 games, he's had the shot bonus, so he looks poised and ready to score potentially here in the next little bit if he continues to shoot like that. So I like him for his price at 5,400. And if I'm going anywhere with the Canadiens tonight, I think it's line 2. It's just always my favorite line with the Canadiens, just because that first line gets the tough matchup most nights. And it just leaves this second line that has a bunch of talent between Suzuki and Anderson, and even Drin. I felt like he's improved his play a little bit and has started to find his production as well as of late. So you get that power play 1 correlation as well between him and Suzuki, and then they match up against Ottawa too, which honestly, like, their numbers are better than I thought they were.
Yeah, really good numbers.
I still think it's a more favorable matchup for the Canadiens, just in terms of like talent on that line, I guess you could say. But they always just seem to be the line that's scoring the majority of the goals for Montreal, outside of when Toffoli was on that third line.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they do with that, if they go forward with that or not. I just think you got to kind of try and get Toffoli more minutes, especially if he's scoring at that rate. But it seems like it's had the opposite effect almost, as to where like he's just not getting that many chances. Maybe it's because he's constantly matched up against the other team's top line, just because you want to match to know against them. But it's Canadiens 2 for me. I think you're good with either Weber or Petrie. Petrie's just been great this year as well. I know his shot volume kind of come down a little bit, but he still seems to be finding an assist basically every second night, I guess, and still seems to be shooting the puck at a fair, decent rate. And he plays over 20 minutes, so you can't really go wrong. Carey Price, another good option. The Sens are going to shoot the puck. $8,400. I think that's a pretty safe pick for me, even though that's pretty pricey. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Senators side. So I'm gonna be quick with this. I think my only interest is in the Senators one line. I just think the second, third line have too difficult of a matchup against the Canadian second and third line. But I do like Brady a lot. I like him every night. He's a guy that's always in line for the shot bonus. He's getting a ton of chances. He has really good numbers with Norris and Brown. And I did look into it more with just to Chuck and Brown together because obviously Norris wasn't on the team last year and they were really good. So definitely in on the Senators one line. It's going to matter a lot if Shabbat's playing or not, to be honest. Again, that's going to be my make or break for this game. But assuming Shabbat's in, definitely have a lot of interest in Senators one. And that's about it from this Senators side.
Yeah, if there's any hope at this game, looking at it from like a numbers perspective, the Sens are actually like kind of unlucky in terms of their expected goals for per 60 being a lot higher than their actual expected goals for. So hopefully that luck starts to evens out for the Senators. I know we're always high on Brady just because of how much he shoots, but the thing that really gets me about the Sens, the Sens top line here is they never seem to be the nut stack, and it's hard when you have all these tough matchups, especially if your team doesn't have Thomas Chabot in the lineup. You're gonna be in your own end for most of the game. So Chabot's kind of a key piece for me as well. But just in terms of like a good kind of unowned upside line, Brady just shoots a bunch, and I think Sens one is a good option if you just kind of want to get away from ownership.
Yeah, like you're playing a 14K line in a 6 implied total game. That's going to play over 18 minutes tonight. So that's where my interest is. It's cheap. It's a pay down option. You can pair them with other top lines and not have to worry too much about finding that 2,500 defenseman. I'm just going to answer a few questions in chat. If you guys are enjoying the content so far, leave a like and subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. Helps us out tremendously. Just a little thing you guys can do. Should I hold on to Zib in a points league? Yeah, I'm holding on to Zib, Art. So can't really get rid of him at this point. Dropping either Fiala, Hoffman, Garland, or Suzuki with Tara Vining coming off IR soon. I'm leaning towards Suzuki. Yeah, those are all good players.
Just look at your team, Chris, and kind of see where you're lacking. Like if you're lacking more in like assists and like power play points, like I probably wouldn't drop Suzuki. But if you're lacking in goals, then I think Suzuki's probably your better option to let go there if Teravainen's coming back off IR.
Yeah, it depends on your team. Bjorkstrand, Konechny, Hayes, Palmieri. Would you take any of them for Meyer or Fiala? I would take Palmieri for Meyer personally. Brad off PP1. Yeah, who keeps changing? Yeah, Art, I keep getting messages like Colton Parayko is day to day, and then it's like Colton Parayko is out. Colton Parayko is healthy. I'm like, can you guys stop just updating me on this? I'll look. Should I grab Talbot over Stachy Mrazek? I also have Jerry and Gibson. Depends on your league. Yeah, Gary. Depends on your league. Like I think Talbot's a better option than Gibson. Like he's definitely more inclined to get wins this year, and I mean Anaheim's been bad. But I would hold Mrazek. Do you have any thoughts on Eichel? Should I trade him or hold on to him? You should definitely hold on to him. Might have to pick up Matheson and drop Dumba. No, keep Dumba over Matheson.
I would not do that.
What do you think about streaming Rene tonight? Yeah, he's an easy stream option against the Wings. Anyone's good against the Wings. Trade Landeskog for Brady to Chuck. Shots, but no hits. Yeah, you can do that.
He's still one of the highest shot volume guys.
Are you okay with dropping Bjorkstrand, Cats League? Shots, hits. Hate to see him play on the third line 14 minutes a night. Yeah, you can get rid of Bjorkstrand if you want, but they've been struggling, so depends on who you can get rid of him for, I guess. Trade away Ehlers for good value. I think he's overperforming. Yeah, if you can get good value out of Ehlers, definitely look to move him. Drop one, Nichas, Buchnevich, Palmieri, or Hintz. Probably Buch for me. Yeah. What could be a good return for Kyle Connor? Points league. Sorry, points are hits, goals, assists, plus minus, PPP, shorthanded points, game-winning goals. That's a lot of categories. No shots in that.
He has a pretty good shot volume.
Probably.
So I think.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like maybe somebody that hits a little bit more than Connor.
Yeah, like maybe Brady, Gensel, Malkin, and something like that.
Maybe some with a little bit better plus minus too.
Chikrin or
It sucks that you
OEL.
don't count shots.
Definitely Chikrin. Chikrin looked sick last night too. If you guys watched that game, didn't know he was that fast. What's up with Leonard? Is he ever coming back, man? Do we know? I have no status on Leonard. I haven't even seen anything about it, but
I think he's got like a lower body injury.
yeah, just he's been a mess right now with these injuries. All right, guys, we'll keep it moving. Again, if you guys want to leave a like very quickly, helps us out a lot. Gets more people in here, helps us with the algorithm, just spreading the hockey knowledge with more people. All right, so Hawks, Blue Jackets. This is an interesting game too, and something that I'm actually more intrigued now than I was earlier in the day. But Hawks won 20K. They don't project too well, and that's mainly because we don't have Suter. Like, we don't have any statistics on Suter because he's never played in the league until this year. But definitely like Hawks won tonight. The Jackets have just been bad defensively, and Korpisalo's been giving up a ton of goals. Something to note here is the Jackets don't take a lot of penalties. So I probably wouldn't do a power play stack if you want to put Strome, a center, over Suter. Something you can do on most nights, but I just think the Jackets have not been taking enough penalties to where I'm interested in taking Strome. But like Blackhawks won tonight, favorable matchup. It looks like they played against the Jackets' depth, and it was like 35% line 3 and 32% line 2 last game. So it's hard for me to kind of judge who they're going to be playing against solely in 5-on-5. But like Hawks won tonight, depth is nothing I'm interested in. Boquist is a fine pairing with your Blackhawks 1 stack. He's not playing a lot of minutes, but he is on power play 1. And at the 2,800 price tag, you're really banking on maybe a power play assist and a few shots to pay off value. And Lankinen, always interested in him. He's always really cheap, and he's in a pretty good spot tonight against a Jackets team that likes to shoot the puck.
Yeah, I've been telling you guys to stay on the Blackhawks, especially that top line, just because they've been solid as of late. And while they continue to be last game, I know they played Detroit and Kane had 3 points, but like that's a Detroit matchup. But I still think Columbus gives up a lot of shots, as well as they're not too sound defensively. And Korpisalo hasn't been great by any means at all. So I'm gonna go back to Blackhawks 1 tonight. I think you can even take Kane and DeBrincat just as like a 2-2-2 potentially.
Yep.
And definitely throw Adam Boquist in there. Like, there's no harm in taking him for 2,800 if you can pair him with another high-end D, especially with him getting power play 1 time, and you're just hoping that he dishes the puck to Kane or to Brinkett and just gets in on an assist or something. Even though his minutes are down, like that's really all that you're hoping for. But we do know in this game that both teams don't typically take a lot of penalties, right, Mike?
Yes. Like,
so,
at all. I think Hawks are 3rd least, and Jackets are 2nd least, and then. We mentioned earlier, Buffalo has the least penalties per game in the league.
Yeah, so you might be a little bit inclined just to stay off Boquist potentially then, if you don't think that 15 minutes time on ice is worth his price there for 2,800. But definitely some Kevin Lankinen tonight. I don't know how he's priced at 7,300 when I go to just Money Puck here. Oh, the Jackets are actually favored. Wow. Interesting. I still think Lankinen's a great, just for his price there too, right? Like,
yep.
He's still gonna see shots, and he's been similar to Blackwood as just kind of holding his team together as just like some gorilla glue or something.
Yeah,
I don't know
literally.
what's going on, but he's been great.
All right, so from the Jackets side, and I'm gonna be quick with this too. I just think it's so hard for me to play like anyone on the Blue Jackets for a couple of reasons. One, their lines seem to change every game, and 2, Torts loves to sit players and ruin everyone's Draftkings nights. So I'm not on the Jackets whatsoever tonight. I do think it's a pretty good matchup against a Hawks team that gives up a ton of shots. But I just can't see myself playing 18K for their first line tonight when you go look at the Penguins in a better matchup against a worse goaltender, and they're 2,000 cheaper than this line. So I think Bjorkstrand's a fine one-off if you're looking to one-off a player tonight in your lineups. I don't mind him at all. He should have some shot volume. The Hawks give up a ton of shots, but not much interested in the Jackets lines at all. I think Jones at 5,900 is always a good play. He's always in line to play over 25 minutes and to get you the shot and block bonus in any given night. So he's more of a one-off play than majority of the defensemen we've talked about. And then Korpisalo here has just been a mess. He's given up about like 4 goals a game right now over his last 10 games. Last 2 games against the Blackhawks, he gave up 5 and 3. I think that he actually one was an empty netter too, so that he was obviously not a net for. So don't mind the Blackhawks against the Jackets tonight. It's just too favorable for me. Korpisalo has just been a mess. So.
Yeah, for those of you that were hoping that Patrick Laine coming into Columbus and just being like the solidified number 1 guy and just turning into a superstar somehow, you're slightly disappointed right now. Even his shot total is down, man. Like he's only had 3 shots in I'm looking at one of his last like 10 potential games here. And he hasn't really been scoring at the rate that we would normally see him at as well. So there's just nothing that I really like about the Blue Jackets. It'd be different if, like Mike said, their lines are a little bit more consistent and Torts kind of actually stuck with some lines for once.
Too easy to do that.
Yeah. Always a good one-off play. High shot volume guy. Power play 2, which I don't think like that's bad, because the only thing I'm really worried about with him is his minutes, because Torts just rolls all 4 lines. But I think, if anything, the safest play here, if you do like the Jackets, is to just go with a power play stack. Either power play 1 or power play 2. I think you get a little bit of value there, and you get a little bit of correlation with line 2 and line 1 if you go either of the 2 power plays. But Seth Jones is a slam dunk for me. I anytime he's under 6K, even when he's at like 6,500, I'll still look to take him, just because he plays so many minutes. He's so involved in terms of his peripherals as well. And he always seems to sneak onto the score sheet, whether it's through like an assist or a goal. But his shot volume's up this year as well, and he loves to just eat pucks. So give me some Seth Jones tonight.
Yeah. Hawks give up a ton of shots too, so something to note. All right, so Predators Wings. Something that really caught my eye is that it looks like this Predators 1 line is going up against the Wings 4, Adam Ernie, Nielsen, and I can't remember the other player because there's just, I think, Glendening potentially. So I love Predators 1 tonight a lot. I was actually looking into Forsberg and Arvidsson's numbers together, and they are very, very strong 5-on-5. It was really surprising to me. Granlund does make the line worse, but I do think, at 4,600, you're not reaching too far for him at center there. And their line's relatively cheap at 16.5, like similar range as the Penguins lines. So really like Predators 1 tonight. I do think they're going to be pretty high owned just because they're going against the Red Wings. And if you go look on DraftKings and you're handpicking your team, Predators are probably the first team you're starting with, just because of how bad the Wings have been this year. So really like Predators 1 tonight. I think you're fine to go with the Predators 2 as well, just as a pay down option. There's not too much talent on the line aside from Duchesne, but I think if you're playing against Red Wings 1 or 2, it's pretty favorable for you. And then defensive side, Roman Josi, great spot tonight, as always. Love him. And Pekka Rinne, I'm just not interested in. I do think the Wings are going to score a few goals tonight. Nashville has not been very good defensively. And I don't think the shot volume is going to be there for an 8K goaltender in Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, that's really the only thing that you're worried about going against the Wings. I actually don't mind Preds 3 tonight as well if Johansson and Tolvanen are both power play 1. I think that's a sneaky third line play that will potentially get you some value there, because they are really, really cheap at 8,100. And it doesn't really matter what line they match against from the Detroit standpoint. Like, I think they're all bad defensively, except for that top line. That, even though their sample's small, typically we see Mantha Larkin be like half decent defensively, if my memory serves correct. Maybe that was with Bertuzzi.
Yeah, with Bertuzzi.
Okay, yeah. So still small sample, so just like be wary of that as well. But I think Preds 1 is a good look tonight. I think they're one of the safer options to go to tonight, just because of, like Mike said, the matchup against the Red Wings. You get Forsberg and Granlund both have power play. Arvidsson loves to shoot the puck, and Forsberg, Arvidsson have a really good correlation together as well. And if they're going against Detroit 4, then that's the cherry on top for me as well. You throw Roman Josi in with that line, and you're laughing your way to some money tonight, I think. outside of that, Ryan Ellis, always a good price for 5,500. Dante Fabro's actually extremely priced up for me. I'm going to look at his game log just because I'm so curious if he's back up to his shot totals that we saw with him last year. Because he was a guy that was like under 3K that we would just, around like 3,500 even, that we would love to go to. Just
Dante,
like a cheap
yeah. Well, he would always get
Yeah.
the block bonus.
Yeah.
You see Don talking about Glendening as player comparable.
He has been shooting the puck and he has been getting blocks, and his minutes they've kind of been inconsistent. Sometimes he'll get over 20 minutes a game, sometimes he'll hover around like that 17-18 minute mark, but I think he's just a little bit too priced up for me there, and I probably won't get to some Rene for 8K. I just think there's better options. I would even rather go with Lankinen for 7,300 and just pay up for another D.
Yeah.
Which is what like you might have to end up doing if you do take Preds 1 with Yossi. So just something to keep an eye on from there as well. Just because Rene hasn't been great, but he should realistically get the win tonight.
Yeah, they're in a pretty good spot. So Wings won here. I think the only thing I really want to talk about in this Wings team is just the Mantha Larkin 2-man stack. I'm probably going to be leaving Helm off of my Mantha Larkin stacks. It's just too hard for me to take Darren Helm. We don't know if he's going to be there. He's not a really good player at all. He's more of like a fourth line, third line center. I'm sorry to my Wings fans that love Helm because he's been there for like 10 years, but not too much I like on this Wings side aside from the top line. The Predators have been very bad on the penalty kill, but the Red Wings are very bad on the power play. So it kind of just like crosses each other out. But I do think if the Wings can get a few power plays, a few looks on the power play at least, Mantha and Larkin can potentially score a few goals tonight. They're in a better spot than we've seen. So Hronek priced up for me. Not a fan at 4,900 at all. But something I want to talk about, Jonathan Bernier. And I know you're going to be surprised, but I like Bernier tonight at 7K. Dating back to about the last 15 games of the season with the Wings, Bernier was very, very good. And he's at 7K tonight. And if you're looking for a cheap goaltender, I don't think you can go wrong with Bernier. The Predators have been a very poor offensive team this year, and we've seen it time and time again. So with Bernier, you're kind of hoping for like a 35 save bonus, 3 goals against game. But it's the 7K price tag. If you want to pay down and try and fit more expensive lines in there, I don't think you can go wrong with Bernier. Assuming it's him tonight. Grice is probably in the same boat as Bernier for me, but he's been actually a lot better than people give him credit for. And I know Don has a take on that too, about Bernier, about how good he was last year.
Interesting. I did not expect that to come out of your mouth tonight.
Today.
I think today, sure. I think I would just rather pay 7,300 for Kevin Lankinen, and I think it's just a little bit more of a safer pick. And I'll probably be eating my words later tonight on that when Bernier gets 35 to 40 saves and a couple goals against, and you're kind of laughing at me. But I think it's just like as bad as the Preds have been, I just don't trust the Wings D at all. and I know Grice has a little bit better of a history, and I know he was kind of sheltered there playing with the Islanders. But I'm curious to see how that goes tonight. Then, if there's some underlying stats surrounding Bernier, and just obviously look with the past season and everything, I'm curious to see how that pans out tonight. I personally won't be taking him, but outside of Bernier, I really don't like any of the Wings either. Until I see Mantha, Larkin, Bertuzzi on a line again, I'm just kind of like, unless they have like a good matchup, which I think like this is one of the better matchups for the Wings, just because the Preds have been so bad. But even then, it's still in my opinion a favorable matchup for the Preds, and I would just rather go with either of those lines instead of the Wings lines.
Yeah. I think when Bertuzzi comes back, it's going to be Sam Gagner, Ernie, and Bertuzzi, and then Larkin, Zadina, Filppula, because Blashill just loves everyone. He's the worst.
God,
All
I
right.
hope not.
Final game of the night, guys, and I do see a lot of questions in the chat. We will answer them right after we get through this last game, and we'll do all of our wrap-up stuff. So, Oilers, Canucks, going to be probably the highest owned game from both sides tonight. There's going to be a lot of interest from everybody. I think for me, the spot obviously is the Oilers 1 and McDavid. Canucks just have not been good in their own end. They have been better as of late, but they just are not very good in their own end. They take penalties. They're not good on the penalty kill. So I have a lot of interest in Oilers 1 tonight. Puljujärvi's really priced up, and that's only going to drive his ownership down. So going to be on the Oilers 1 tonight. They should be facing off against Canucks too. And given their sample from last season as well, they're just not a very good defensive line. There's going to be a lot of firepower in this game, and this is what you get from every Canadian matchup, and it's actually very good for DraftKings and for viewership too. Second line, no interest. They're going against the Horvat line, who's been a tough defensive line to play against, and Draisaitl and Yamamoto, and I know a lot of you guys are talking about Yamamoto, but he has been atrocious this year. And I dropped him in my big league. I took him pretty high, so kind of regretting that. But defensive side, you can never go wrong with Nurse and Barrie. They are very good point-getting defensemen. They are very good shot defensemen, and they're very good block defensemen. So a lot of interest in them every night. Mike Smith, 8,100, no interest at all. And then Evan Bouchard, who is the biggest misprice on the slate tonight, playing 9 minutes the last 2 nights. Zero interest from him at all.
Yeah, I don't ask me why he's priced at 8,400 there. That's a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. Barrie, Nurse, always good options. Nurse will give you that higher floor, but Barrie will definitely give you that higher upside. You're good with going to either one. It doesn't really matter. Alex Chiasson on power play 1 instead of Puljujärvi now? Come on. That sucks. I really liked how all 3 of them were power play 1 correlated. It just justified Puljujärvi's price a little bit more for me. And now that he's priced up at 5,500, it makes it increasingly harder and harder to get to him. But you know everybody's just one off McDavid because he had like 5 points last game. But I still like Oilers 1, especially if they go against Canucks 2. But they've actually been fairly solid looking at their expected goals for and against, and they've definitely had improvements just in their past couple games in terms of like just overall playing better as a team. Like they were going through a rough patch there for a little bit, and they're definitely trending in the right direction now, I'd say. But still, Oilers 1, it's hard to ignore just the absolute tear that McDavid is going on right now. Even when you throw Nugent Hopkins in there and Puljujärvi just for the full line correlation, it's you just get ownership plays that other people aren't going to have. Like I love when I see a Nuge goal from like McDavid or a Nuge goal from like Draisaitl, because I know that his ownership is just so much lower, and a lot of people just overlook him because of number 1 his price, and number 2 just because everybody likes to one off McDavid. So Oilers 1 for me tonight. No Oilers 2. They've just been bad. Yamamoto's been bad, like Mike said. Ennis is bad. And Draisaitl is really your only saving grace on that line, but they are going against Canucks 1, which is never a fun time for any line. So it's Oilers 1 for me.
Yeah, and I just looked. So Canucks are taking the most penalties in the league tonight, and to no surprise, the Oilers are second for power play. Oh, they're 9th, but they've been really good over the last 5 games. So definitely going to give me some Oilers tonight. I do think you could try and do a Nuge McDavid Draisaitl stack. It's going to be hard, and you're going to have to pay down a lot, but I do think you can get them with the Devils potentially, but that's what a lot of people are going to be doing. So just watch for that. But Canucks side here, Canucks 1 have been very good 5-on-5, but they are going against this Oilers 2 line who have just been atrocious defensively, and they're priced really well. So I like Canucks 1 quite a bit tonight. They've been shooting the puck a bunch. They're creating chances. All 3 of them are on the power play. I know Horvat's the only one on the top power play, but just the fact that they are all going to see time on the power play is something that does interest me. And Canucks 2 tonight, very good spot. Oilers are taking a bunch of penalties. They are not good on the penalty kill, especially with Clefbaum out. And a lot of interest in this game from both sides. I like how they're all power play correlated. They've been a lot better as of late. And I think if you need a third line tonight that's min price, Canucks 3 is not the worst option. And I've said this like before the stream, you're kind of making fun of me, but they project really well. They have good 5-on-5 numbers, and they're 8K as a third line. So they're going to give you about 14 minutes each, and that's something that interests me. If you're third line, you're playing 14 minutes. And some teams, like you look at Columbus, where all 3 of their lines play 14 minutes. So definitely some interest there. I think Edler's a really good option at 3,700. He's a very good value defenseman. Quinn Hughes at 5,700 doesn't interest me very much. He's just a guy that you're going to want to correlate with your Canucks power play stacks if you're going that route. And then Demko, 10-foot pole tonight. He's been good. It's just a very tough matchup against the Oilers tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Good. Honestly, like, interesting take on Canucks 3. The only thing I will say about that is that I think I would just personally rather go with Preds 3, just because they have 2 guys on power play 1, and they're only 100 cheap or 100 more in terms of salary, and they have another guy on power play 2, so they do get. I don't know how many minutes they play 5-on-5. I will say that, but just seeing all 3 of them get like 2 of them on power play 1, like that's a little ridiculous for that price tag. So. But as you can see, the expected goals for are pretty good, and Mike's definitely looked into this, so definitely trust his opinion as well. If you need that cheap line, where I think any third line matching up against Oilers 3s has a good chance of getting a couple goals regardless. But Canucks 1 is a good play going against Draisaitl there. I think they're cheap. Like we see Horvat under 5K. And Hoglander has been fairly good in terms of his shot volume as of late as well, if I can remember correctly. So I like that line going against the Draisaitl line just because of how bad they've been as a line 5-on-5. But I'm a little bit off of line 2 just because we've seen a large improvement in terms of the defense of that first line for the Oilers there. And we kind of talked about it prior to the stream, where McDavid has just like shown that he's played a lot better defensively as the season's progressed. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. I think the second line for the Canucks definitely has the higher ceiling than the first line, just because they're all power play 1 correlated. But if you like the Canucks tonight and you're trying to get away from that ridiculous Oilers ownership that I think we're going to see with McDavid tonight, definitely take some Quinn Hughes. He's been good. He's pretty consistent with getting at least 3 shots on goal per game, as well as he gives you a lot of upside just based on how many points he gets as a defenseman.
Yeah.
So I think for 5,700, it's a pretty good price, especially if he's seeing over 20 minutes a game. But Demko is a tough one tonight for me as well. Any time I see a goalie going up against the Oilers, I'm just so hesitant to take them, just because of that incredible potential that the Oilers have to get like 6-7 goals a game.
Yeah, for sure. All right, gonna answer just a few questions here. I know Don has been answering a couple in the chat, but Talbot over Kakinen, is Talbot even the clear number 1? Yeah, he's the clear number 1. When he's back, he's definitely should be a must own in all leagues. Start Korpisalo tonight? No, I wouldn't. Who would you try to get for Bjorkstrand in a Cats league? I know it's hard since you can't see who's on team and everything, but any opinion is great. I mean, he's kind of been underperforming a little bit, but I mean, you can definitely look at someone like maybe Chris Kreider, like Jordan Staal potentially. For Bjorkstrand, I don't think he has too much value. Trade away Ehlers for Stamkos? Yeah, not really close. Predict 5-4 final for Chicago. I'm holding you to that, Justin. Line 4 in the wings, shutdown line. Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. Yay or nay? Dropping Gurionov for Zook? No, I would keep Gurionov. Thoughts on Hall, his point production, rest of season? I still think his rest of season production's high. He's still an elite player. But it's kind of hard.
I kind of hope.
Go ahead.
I kind of hope he goes back on the first line with Eichel.
And we're definitely going to see that soon, I think.
Hopefully.
Unless Buffalo's just trying to hide him, so he has a bad season, they can re-sign him for less money.
Oh.
All right, so we have a couple chirps in the chat at the bottom here. I'll get to that. But would you drop Mangiapane for Granlund stream today for Red Wings matchup? Yeah, but I think Mangiapane has more worth season-long MAW. But if he's your like most expendable player and you're looking for a stream option tonight, I think Granlund's fine. Helm, all heart, no hands. Yeah, keep Muzzin even after injury. Yeah, if you can just toss him on your IR, I would do that. Should I try to trade Jordan Stahl for Malkin?
I don't know if that'll go through, but yes.
Yeah, if you can. Are the Kings legit? Ask a channel. But yeah, they're pretty good this season. I'm really surprised.
I think their first line is, if anything.
Yeah. Game stack, all those
Doughty's
Canucks.
also been
Yeah, he's been great. And Cal Peterson's solid. Drop Yamamoto, yep. Do you think he sure pans out for the rest of the season, or how do you think? I think he'll be fine. It's just hard for me to tell because he hasn't skated in like a year, so it's going to be difficult to tell. But definitely monitor power play 1. He's going to be seeing minutes. So, what are your credentials? What a great question that is. I mean, sorry we don't have Draftkings in our name, so I guess that kind of loses all of our credential there. Why should I listen to this over Osmo? I mean, you can 100% go listen to Osmo if you want, man. No one's forcing you to come in here and listen to us, but I shouldn't have to prove myself to why you should be listening to us. We're just trying to provide some knowledge for everybody. But appreciate the view. Should I drop Corp and pick up Quick? I would pick up Peterson over Quick, personally.
Yeah. Trade Hall for Ehlers. Ooh. I'd probably hold Hall.
You made me drop Dvorak. I wish I can say it in a loud voice, but and jokes. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it bites me in the ass when I make calls and that player goes off. But you know,
it happens.
Okay, later, guys. Way to sell your product. Thanks, DFS. And how do you want me to prove myself? It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it.
If it's any justification for anybody out there, like, we look at a lot of like advanced analytics and we know that it's the best way to justify taking certain lines over other lines. Like, just take a look at our sheet right here. Like, we have expected goals for and against. It's like the main thing that we constantly talk about. Mike always talks about like the matchups and how players are doing in terms of, like, he just mentioned Canucks 3 being like a half decent take. Like, the reason why he's saying that is because the numbers back it up. We're not just pulling things out of our ass, you know?
Yeah, like we do a lot of research, DFS, that goes into this. We built this sheet over the last year. We've really fine-tuned it to make it easy to read for everyone. You can see who's on the power play. We have all their expected numbers up here. I don't know, just not appreciate, you know, the troll job here. But I mean, you can go listen to Osmo. I mean, I respect it, but you do you, man.
I just timed him out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point. There's no point to have to prove myself in here. But I was gonna bring up the contest, so I'm just like, you know what? It's not worth it for me.
No, it's fine. He's just probably having a bad day.
Yeah, I know.
He's the DFS fantasy god, so I don't know why he's in here listening to us if he knows what he's talking about.
Pick up Iafallo or Zook. Iafallo for me. Power play 1. You think Fiala will be better this week? Didn't watch the game. He had 5 shots. Yeah, I think he'll be better. Absolutely. Hard to get, drop him after one bad game. Well, not even a bad game, though. He had 5 shots. Like, that's what you're looking for out of him. Just as long as the pucks are going to the net, it's going to come.
I'm keeping Fiala in my league just because of his shot volume right now. Like, it's just insane. He shoots the puck so much. And in categories that count shots, like, I think you would be dumb not to have him in your lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not trying to be rude, man. I'm just,
No, not at all. And again, Mike said, you don't have to be here. We're not forcing you guys to be here. We're trying to provide you guys with value in terms of DraftKings and fantasy hockey and season long and stuff like that. And I think the reason why you guys stick around is because that we provide you guys with that value. Like, we built a trade analyzer for you guys for our Patreon, right?
Yeah. No worries. All right, guys. So, Clarky, favorite line tonight?
It's really hard to not say Edmonton won.
Yeah,
I'm going
I know.
to try not to say Edmonton won. My favorite line tonight is going to be, I'm going to go with Canadiens 2 in a pretty easy matchup against the Sens.
All right. I'm going to say this Penguins 2 line. I do think Malkin has a huge opportunity to make a comeback at some point in the season. And hopefully it starts tonight against Vanacek, who's just been struggling. Favorite defenseman tonight?
My favorite D tonight. Just kind of scanning over here. I like Seth Jones, actually, just for his price. Like he's almost 1,000 less than Yossi, and I still think he has kind of the same floor, or just as of late he's had the same floor. He's gonna play a lot of minutes as well, so I like Seth Jones tonight.
Yeah, Jones is a good one as always. But Roman Yossi for me tonight. It's so hard for me to get away from him.
It's always so good.
So Neat Mike again, another comment. I totally get the credentials thing. It's just like, we do a lot of research, put a lot of work into this. I've been playing DraftKings for 2 years, and I mean, I'm not telling you guys to play these players. We're just telling you guys who we're playing tonight and who we like. I mean, you don't have to 100% listen to our advice. We're just trying to, provide as much knowledge as we can for everyone else to help make decisions. But don't worry about it. All right, guys. So we got our hat trick predictions from last night. It looks like who had the best one? We had a couple ties here. It looks like with the Anders Lee and Clayton Keller, but just a few goals from everyone. We have 1, 2, 3 goals. That's it from the guesses yesterday. So the boys struggled, but hopefully we can bounce back today. So everyone, toss in your hat trick picks for tonight. Would love to hear what everyone thinks. And I'm going to have to think about mine quickly. Yeah, a lot of options tonight. So what have you won? I took down the Enforcer twice last year. Took down the Knuckle Puck last year. And I won the Minimax this year. And I think I came second in the Enforcer as well so far this year. But I've really toned down my DraftKings play this year just to put more focus on the channel and the community that we're growing here. What have you won, Neat Mike?
I mean, I can always just flex my.
Yeah, I feel like I shouldn't have to, but
DraftKings, but yeah, I'm just not the type of person to do that.
Yeah.
All right, some good hat trick picks though tonight. Forsberg, I like that. Dylan Larkin. Okay, Thomas, I see you. The Tribe going with Rust.
How many GPPs have you shipped? Love this.
Okay.
Mantha. Wow.
RV. Tatar, that's interesting, especially
Yeah.
being on the third line there. Yamamoto, a channel. No, what are you doing? It's because he knows that no matter who we rip on is the guy that's going to absolutely go off.
I know.
2 Palmieri picks, too. Wow.
He's been hot. He actually had like one of the best expected goals numbers. Neat Mike's, yeah, that guy's other account. Yeah, probably. Man, Jujarkara is like the hardest name to spell.
This
He loves it though. Like this makes him happy. This is my first time live. When do you go live for Yahoo Fantasy? This is dope. We usually do just DraftKings, but all the season-long streams are usually Sunday, but I think I'm going to be unavailable this Sunday to stream, actually, Flaky. But Flaky, definitely join our Discord. I haven't shouted it out yet. We have 40 people in here, guys. Head over to the description and click the link tree and join our Discord. We're almost at 200 people. A lot of the people commenting in the chat today are all come from our Discord, so if you're not in there, definitely join. Flaky, I think you would definitely enjoy being in the Discord. A lot of good people in there. Philippe with Rust, eh? Philippe, you got to tell me, you got to ask me someone to drop, and who I say you have to pick for your hat trick choice tonight. Oh,
Crosby. Ooh.
the first McDavid tonight. Mike D with Nuge. Yeah, Nuge is like an underrated pick.
I don't think he has a really high shot volume, so it's like kind of justifiable, but he's more of a pass first guy, obviously. Kind of hard to be a pass first guy though when McDavid's just finding you backdoor the entire game.
Hey Kevin, by the way, I saw you talking about how you like Zook. Man, go with your gut. You know, like I'm just trying to provide what I think personally, but like definitely go with what you think. Like if you think Zook's gonna be good rest of season, like go with it. Like definitely trust your intuition, man. Sometimes intuition beats numbers by a lot. So.
Yep, that sounds like hockey, all right.
Hockey's a variant sport. It's too hard to predict. So Thomas, you guessed, eh? Okay. I'll remember that Mantha 3 assists tonight.
Ooh.
I hate spelling Leon's last name. Justin with Crosby, eh? We have a decent amount of predictions tonight, guys. I love it. What is the Discord? Yeah, just go into our description on YouTube where it says check out the content. Click it. Click the Discord. You should be able to get in. I can't open it up because... Are you frozen right now? Yeah, you are frozen. Yeah, I can't open it up because that's where we're pulling his video from. So if I open it up, it just freezes everything. Oh, and Todd Wilson is the new one.
No. Todd was just saying how I timed him out after you mentioned something completely unrelated to.
If I hit the weights, you know I went this morning. Either say I told you so or I screwed up and they get a shutout. I love that. Man, think of it from our standpoint, Thomas, where like we're making claims like, yo, pick up Fiala, then he puts up a 0 the next night. People in here talking to me about Fiala, but that's all part of it. I love it. All right, Clarky, your pick for tonight. I think I might know who it is.
Oh, okay. I want to hear who you think.
I think you're gonna say DeBrincat.
I was gonna go with DeBrincat, but instead I'm going with Phil Forsberg tonight.
Oh. All right, so you and Kyle.
I think just with everything that the Preds have come out and said about how they're shopping. Well, they're not shopping their whole team. They're just listening to offers. That I'm thinking that's going to get like their fire going a little bit, kind of similar to what happened when Dallas's GM came out and said that their stars weren't playing like stars. No pun intended there.
Yeah.
But
all right, so I saw someone said no Draisaitl, but I think I'm going to go with Mr. Elias Pettersson. Mr. Elias Pettersson. You can just time Todd out. It's so easy to judge when you're not putting your face on camera.
I can never tell.
Yeah, it's all part of it, Thomas. All right, guys. So appreciate everyone for tuning in today. Few trolls today. Some people, bored during quarantine. I get it. It's all fun and games.
For dislikes, they just got their friend. Their
yeah, they're just making accounts. It's fine. I get it. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for all the awesome discussion once again today. You guys are awesome. The fantasy puck community is growing, guys. So definitely get in the Discord when you can. Follow us on Twitter at @fantasy_puck. We answer questions on there as well if you want to direct message us there. Don's always on that and answering some questions. If you guys have any questions about DraftKings, the slate tonight, we do have a text channel in our Discord. Me and Devils for Cup and Ray are pretty active in there. So feel free to ask questions whenever, kind of going over what we're doing tonight. And guys, if you want access to our spreadsheets, our trade analyzer, everything, it's all available over on our Patreon. If you like our content and all the work we put in, simple way to support us. Other than that, Clarky, any final notes?
Yeah, guys, if you aren't in the Discord, definitely jump in there. We're almost at like 200 active users, so that's definitely a milestone that we're looking to hit. And we love just seeing the growth and everything in the community kind of coming together. So thank you guys. Like, honestly, you guys are the reason why we do this. As always, if you have any questions for Mike and I, the best way to reach us is through Discord. If not, like, just make sure that you guys get in there, like, for any type of fantasy discussion. Like, we have lots of channels for each topic. Like, we got a DraftKings specific channel, and any trades you guys want to throw in there as well. Our community is definitely engaging enough to help you with no matter what it is, as well as if you guys want access to that trade analyzer that I talked about, that Don put a lot of work into to make for you guys, and to throw our projections into there for you. Definitely consider looking at our Patreon. Like I said, we're always here to give you guys the most value as possible. So just thank you to Mike again for having me on. It's always a pleasure. Let's be sure to make some money tonight. Yesterday was kind of slow, so let's make up for it tonight, guys.
Make that money, boys. All right.